Hello, 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 and welcome back to the AI Café Conversations. This is Sahar and Radi, your AI whisperer. This is episode 10 of season 3. We are still talking in phase 3, which is the advantage. Thank you for all the love you have been showing to the episodes lately. I really, really do appreciate you. And thank you for making us the number 2 globally podcast ranking. I really appreciate you. The last episode, we talked about how to build the 3 capabilities AI can't replace. They are contextual judgment, relational trust, and adaptive creativity. Today, let's talk about what happens when you don't build them. And specifically, what does that cost? Most executives track AI investment obsessively. Like, we spent $500,000 on ChatGPT enterprise licenses, or we invested $1.2 million in AI implementation, or we allocated $800,000 for training. But very few executives track AI failure cost. And here is the reality. According to industry research, failed or stalled AI transformations cost organizations an average of $2.7 million. Not the investment, the loss. $2.7 million in direct cost, in opportunity cost, and competitive erosion. And most executives have no idea this is happening because they are not measuring the right things. Today, let's break down what that $2.7 million actually includes, why most organizations hit this cost, and how human-centered organizations avoid it entirely. Let's go. Okay, so what's included in the $2.7 million average cost of failed AI transformation? 3 buckets. Cost number 1, wasted implementation spend. This is the obvious one, but even here, most executives underestimate. You spent $1.2 million in implementation, fine. But what about redundant tool purchases, like 17 different AI tools across departments because no governance? Or, according to our shadow AI research, this averages $670,000 annually just in untracked spend. Or, failed pilots that went nowhere, consultant fees, internal resources, and time. Or, rework cost when you realize 6 months in that your approach was wrong. When you add it up, the direct wasted spend is often 2 to 3 times the original investment. But that's just bucket number 1. Cost number 2, opportunity cost. This is where it gets really painful. Opportunity cost is what you did not do while you were doing the wrong thing. While you spent 18 months stuck in pilot purgatory, competitors deployed AI successfully and took market share. Top talent left because they saw the transformation failing. Innovation stalled because resources were tied up in failed initiatives. According to Gartner research, 88% of organizations experiment with AI, but only 33% scale it successfully. That gap, that's opportunity cost. So let me give you an example. You are a financial services company. You spend 18 months trying to deploy AI-powered customer analytics. It fails. Or worst, it stalls in pilot purgatory. Meanwhile, your competitors successfully deployed similar AI in 12 months. Now they have better customer insights, faster response times, more personalized offering, and they are stealing your customers. What's the cost of losing 5% market share over 18 months? For a $100 million revenue company, that's $5 million in lost revenue. That dwarfs your $1.2 million implementation spend. That's opportunity cost. Cost number 3, competitive erosion. This is the compounding one. When your AI transformation fails, you don't just lose the investment, you fall behind. And catching up gets exponentially harder. Why? Because successful AI organizations are attracting better talent, people want to work where AI is working, building network effects, their AI gets better with more data, creating cultural momentum, people see success and want more. While failed AI organizations are losing talent, people leave when transformations fail. Creating cynicism, AI doesn't work here. Destroying psychological safety, people hide problems because leadership is frustrated. So not only did you waste 1.2 million, you also fell 18 to 24 months behind competitors. And now catching up requires 3 times the investment because you have to 1, rebuild trust internally, 2, reverse cynicism, 3, re-attract talent who left, 4, overcome competitive disadvantages your competitor built. When you add it all up, wasted implementation 1.5 million, including shadow AI, failed pilots, rework. 2, opportunity cost $800,000 in lost innovation, talent departure, delayed benefits. 3, competitive erosion 400,000, market share loss, catching up cost, the total is 2.7 million. And that's an average. For large organizations, it's much bigger. I worked with a chief technology officer 18 months ago who was brought in to fix a failed AI transformation. The previous CTO had spent 2.1 million over 24 months with almost nothing to show for it. When we did a forensic analysis, here is what we found. These are the direct wasted spend. 23 different AI tools purchased across departments. There was no coordination, no governance. 847,000 in shadow AI cost, teams spinning up their own solutions. 7 failed pilots, consultants paid, nothing scaled. Total 1.9 million. Now, opportunity cost, 18-month delay in getting customer AI analytics working. Competitors gained 8% market share during that period. 14 senior engineers left, frustration with failed transformation. Total estimated 1.2 million in only recruiting costs, and lost productivity and competitive impact. Now, the competitive erosion showed as now 24 months behind leading competitors in AI maturity. Customer satisfaction declining. Competitors offering better AI-powered service. Talent acquisition harder. Reputation as place where AI doesn't work. Total estimated 600,000 in catch-up cost plus brand damage. The grand total, 3.7 million in failure cost on a 2.1 million investment. That's not ROI. That's ROI minus or ROI negative 176%. Quick note before we continue. If you're listening to this and thinking we might be in the middle of this right now, don't wait. The longer a failed transformation continues, the more costs compound. Opportunities, cost grows. Competitive erosion, accelerate. Cynicism hardens. Book a strategy call at calendly.com/Sahar and Radi. I will have the link for you in the description. Let's diagnose where you are and what it would take to course correct before costs get worse. You have nothing to lose. It's a free call. Okay, back to what successful organizations do differently. So if the average failure cost is 2.7 million, why don't executives see it coming? There are 3 reasons for that. So reason number 1, they only measure inputs, not outcomes. And I spoke about that before, but this is a refresher. Most executives track how much did we spend on AI tools, how many people completed training, how many pilots did we launch. But they don't track, did those tools solve business problems? Are people more effective after training? Or did any pilots actually scale? So on paper, everything looks fine. We deployed AI to 80% of the organization. Success! Except when you look at outcomes, the productivity is unchanged, customer satisfaction is declining, innovation is stalled, talent is leaving. But because you're measuring inputs, not outcomes, you don't see failure until it's too late. Reason number 2, failure happens slowly, then suddenly. AI transformation failure is not dramatic. It's not, we deployed AI and everything broke. It's, we deployed AI, adoption was slow, pilots didn't scale, people went back to old ways, and 18 months later, we realized nothing changed. By the time you see failure clearly, you have already spent $2.7 million. Reason number 3, no one wants to be the person who says, this is not working. Remember psychological safety from episode 6 of season 3? When transformations start failing, people know. They see pilots stalling. They see shadow AI exploding. They see cynicism growing. But if psychological safety doesn't exist, no one speaks out. Because the person who says this is not working is seen as not a team player, resistant to change, or being the problem. So everyone keeps quiet. Leadership keeps spending and costs compound. By the time someone finally says, hey, this is not working, you are 18 months and 2.7 millions in. Okay, so how do human-centered organizations avoid the 2.7 million failure cost? 4 practices. Practice number 1, they measure outcomes from day one, not how many people are using the AI tool, but is the AI tool solving the business problems we identified? Not how many pilots we have launched, but which pilots have scaled and delivered ROI. The 3-zone framework is what I use with executive clients to design measurement systems that track outcomes, not activities. It ensures you're measuring whether AI is actually amplifying human capability, not just being deployed. If you want to see how this works for your organization, book a strategy call at calendly.com/Sahar Andrade, and I will map it out for you. Practice number 2, they build psychological safety so failure signals surface early. Remember, failure happens slowly, then suddenly. But in human-centered organization, failure signals surface early. Why? Because people feel safe saying, this pilot is not working, we need to pivot, or this tool is creating more problems than it solves, or we are measuring the wrong things. That honesty prevents 2.7 million losses because you're course correcting at month 3, not month 18. Practice number 3, they start with amplification, not replacement. We talked about this in episode 8 of season 3. Organizations that approach AI with a replacement mindset, what can we automate, create resistance, cynicism, and failure. Organizations that approach AI with an amplification mindset, like what can humans do better with AI, create buy-in, innovation, and success. When people feel AI is making them more effective, not replacing them, adoption accelerates. When adoption accelerates, you see ROI faster. When you see ROI faster, you avoid the 2.7 million failure cost. Practice number 4, they build the 70% first. Remember the 10-20-70 principle from episode 5, season 3? 10% of transformation effort should be technology, 20% should be processes, 70% should be people and culture. Most organizations spend 90% on technology and 10% on people. And they wonder why transformation fails. Change Management 101, right? I always say that. Human-centered organization flip that. They spend the first 90 days building 1, psychological safety so people can speak up. 2, governance frameworks so shadow AI does not explode. 3, human capability development so people can use AI effectively. Only then do they scale technology deployment. And because the foundation is solid, scaling is fast and ROI is high. The pilot, PILOT framework is what I use with executive clients to build the 70% first. It's a structured approach. It's my signature framework that ensures you're building amplification capability before deploying technology at scale. You want to see how this applies to your transformation? Schedule a strategy call. I'll have the link into the description. I worked with a chief operating officer 9 months ago who was 6 months into a stalled AI transformation. They spent 1.4 million. Adoption was stuck at 23%. Leadership was frustrated. When we diagnosed the situation, here is what we found. They had skipped the 70%. No psychological safety. People hiding that tools were not working. No governance. 19 different AI tools, massive redundancy. No capability building. People didn't know how to use AI effectively. So we paused technology deployment for 60 days and we built the foundation. We went back from scratch. 1, we created psychological safety practices like weekly forums for honest feedback and opinions. 2, implemented governance guardrails, not gates, guardrails. Approved to list, fast approval process. 3, built human capabilities, contextual judgment forums, not just tool training. Then we relaunched. Within 6 months, adoption went from 23% to 81%. ROI positive at month 4 versus negative at month 6 before. Saved estimated 1.8 million in failure cost and avoided the 2.7 million trajectory. Competitive advantage, now leading their industry segment in AI maturity. That's what happens when you build the 70% first. You don't avoid failure cost, you create success ROI. Okay, so let's bring this home. Failed AI transformation cost an average of 2.7 million. In wasted implementation spent 1.5 million. Opportunity cost 800,000. Competitive erosion 400,000. Most executives dramatically underestimate this because 1, they measure inputs, not outcomes. 2, failure happens slowly. 3, psychological safety does not exist. No one speaks up. And by the way, these numbers came from my own experience and based on research that I have been doing. Human-centered organizations avoid this cost by 1, measuring outcomes from day 1. 2, building psychological safety so failure signals surface early. 3, starting with amplification, not replacement. 4, building the 70% first, people and culture, before scaling the 10% technology. The choice is actually simple. Spend 2.7 million on failure or invest in human-centered transformation and see positive ROI. It should be like logic, right? Well, I guess in a lot of places it's not. Next week, how do you measure human-centered AI transformation success? The metrics that actually matters. If you are an executive who has already invested in AI transformation and you're not sure if you're headed for success or failure, here is what working together looks like. 1, take the shadow assessment AI. I'm going to put the link here it's free in the description. 5 minutes. You will get a personalized report that calculates your potential failure cost and shows you exactly where risks are hiding. 2, book a 30-minute free strategy call. That's not a commitment. It's just strategy call. We will diagnose whether you are on track for success or headed towards the 2.7 million failure cost, and I will tell you exactly what needs to change. Step number 3, if we are a fit, I will show you how the pilot framework and the 3-zone strategy build the 70% that prevents failure and creates sustainable ROI. This is not theory. This is what I do with executives day in, day out. The link to my calendar will be in here. I am Sahar Andrade, your AI whisperer. This is AI Café Conversations, and before I leave, I want to remind you to show me some love. Save, subscribe, share this podcast, and thank you for your support. I really do appreciate it, and I mean that. To email me, you can use sahar@saharconsulting.com, LinkedIn Sahar Andrade, Instagram Sahar the Reinvent Coach. I would love to hear from you. Till then, I will see you on Friday for our Forbes-like article, the short episode of 15 minutes or less. Till I see you again, peace out.
1